The phone buzzed. One message, one single line, and my chest tightened instantly. Can you co-sign for a new car? The screen flashed. My brother's name, Ethan Cole, smug as always, as if entitlement was a birthright. I stared at it, fingers hovering, before typing back. Keep dreaming. Seconds later, another ping. My father's name, Lucas Cole, appeared in bold caps. Refuse and you're cut off from family events. Cut off. Just like that. I remembered every Thanksgiving where I had cooked the entire feast while they laughed in the living room. Every birthday where Ethan got extravagant gifts while mine were tokens of pity. Every holiday dinner where I scraped plates at the far end of the table, unseen and unheard. And now this ultimatum. My apartment was dimly lit, shadows stretching across walls, echoing the weight of their threats. Ethan reckless, entitled. Lucas wielding control like a weapon. Both convinced that family loyalty meant blind obedience. But they forgot something important. My name is Madeline Hayes, I'm 27, and I've spent years quietly holding the strings behind the scenes, keeping the accounts balanced, bailing them out of every financial misstep. Every loan, every unpaid favor. They never noticed. Until now. What would happen if the family who thought they could control me realized I was the one holding the proof? If the daughter they tried to silence turned the tables, legally, deliberately, and strategically? I didn't reply to Ethan. I didn't reply to Lucas. I picked up the phone and dialed a number they didn't know existed, a number I'd been saving for months. When it connected, a calm voice answered. This is Attorney Bennett. Ready when you are. I smiled, finally feeling the surge of power. Yes, it's time. By the next morning, the plan was quietly in motion. Legally airtight, immovable, and irreversible. Meanwhile, Ethan's messages piled up. So, co-signing or not, Dad says you're selfish. I leaned back in my chair, thinking of every time I'd covered for him. Every time I'd been expected to sacrifice my own life for his comfort. Every text he sent, every shout my father issued in bold threats, now meant nothing. For the first time, the silence wasn't mine, it was theirs. I had the evidence. I had the leverage. And for the first time, I felt untouchable. By mid-morning, my phone was a battlefield. Ethan's texts alternated between panic and desperation. Maddie, please. I already told the dealer I'd be there. They're holding the car. Another. You froze the account? Are you insane? Unfreeze it now or Dad will cut you off forever. I didn't flinch. I sat back in my sleek apartment, sunlight glinting off the glass walls, calm washing over me like a storm finally breaking. For years, I had been their fixer, their backup, their invisible shield. Now the roles had reversed. Attorney Bennett called again. All paperwork filed. Clause 7.2 secures your accounts. They cannot access your funds without authorization. The joint emergency fund is frozen permanently. I let out a breath I hadn't realized I'd been holding. The very safety net they had always wielded to control me. The cushion they used as leverage was now theirs to panic over. By noon, Lucas showed up at my office, storming in like a man who owned the world. His shadow stretched across the polished floor. Madeline, you've embarrassed this family. Do you realize what people will say when they find out you turned against Ethan? I closed my laptop slowly, eyes unwavering. You mean what they'll say when they find out you threatened to cut me off from family events because I wouldn't co-sign his debt? Or when they discover I've been silently covering every bill and loan for years? Lucas froze, his face a mask of disbelief. That was your duty. No, I said, calm, deliberate. That was my choice. And now I choose differently. I pressed play on my phone. His own voice thundered through the office. Family loyalty means sacrifice. If you won't help your brother, you're no daughter of mine. The effect was instantaneous. Lucas's jaw clenched. Ethan's face paled. Suddenly, their authority crumbled under the weight of their own words. They had weaponized loyalty for years, but now that weapon was neutralized. The power was mine. Ethan tried to plead. Maddie, I'll pay you back. I cut him off with a single glance. No words were needed. Every exploit, every expectation, every assumption about my sacrifice had been turned back on them. By evening, the panic had spread. Calls, texts, even voicemails, they didn't know what to do. Every attempt to control me was met with silence, or worse, exposure. I watched it unfold like a chess game I had been meticulously planning for months. Every move calculated, every threat countered, every family secret subtly revealed. For the first time, I wasn't the one scrambling to survive the storm. I was the storm. Saturday morning arrived like a storm. A knock rattled my apartment door, sharp and urgent. I opened it slowly. There stood Lucas, shoulders heavy, eyes not as commanding as before. Behind him, Ethan lingered, looking smaller than I'd ever seen him. Guilt and fear etched into every line of his face. Madeline, Lucas began, voice low, almost human this time. We need to talk. I crossed my arms, leaning casually against the doorframe. Funny, I said. Last time you wanted to talk, it came in all caps and threats. Lucas winced, glancing at Ethan, who shuffled uncomfortably. We overreacted. Ethan made mistakes, yes, but he's young. We didn't think. You thought I'd roll over, I interrupted, voice steady. You thought I'd sign my name, ruin my credit, and carry his debts while calling it loyalty. The silence hit harder than any argument could. Ethan's eyes dropped, ashamed. Lucas's fists clenched, pride battling defeat. That's not family, I continued. That's exploitation. You made every demand, every assumption, every expectation of sacrifice, and you didn't expect me to say no. Ethan mumbled. I'm sorry, Maddie. I didn't mean. I raised a hand, cutting him off. No. You meant it. You meant every request, every demand, every time you treated my generosity as a given. You just didn't expect me to reclaim my life. Lucas's jaw tightened. The old pride flickered, struggling to assert itself, but I stepped closer, calm, deliberate. Do you really want to cut ties over money and control? I didn't cut ties. You did. When you chose his comfort over my dignity, when you decided I wasn't a daughter to protect but a tool to use. The weight of my words pressed down like a gavel in a courtroom. Neither Lucas nor Ethan had a response. I opened the door wider, letting the light spill into the room. This is my space, my rules, my life. Unless you can respect that, you don't belong here. They stepped back, defeated, shadows of the authority they once wielded. I felt a strange calm wash over me. For the first time, the power wasn't hanging over my head, it was mine entirely. Weeks passed. The ripple effects were undeniable. Family gatherings were quieter. Invitations ceased, but I didn't feel punished. I felt liberated. My holidays were mine again, filled with laughter, unconditional joy, and people who appreciated me, not exploited me. And through it all, the voicemail remained on my phone. Lucas's booming words, meant to intimidate, were now proof of my autonomy. Every time I heard them, I remembered the line they tried to draw, and the line I crossed into freedom. For the first time, I wasn't just surviving, I was thriving. By midweek, the silence from Lucas was deafening. No calls, no emails, no bold threats in all caps. For a man who had spent decades barking orders, this quiet was the loudest sign of defeat. Ethan, on the other hand, couldn't stop texting, desperate and pleading. Maddie, please. I'll pay you back, I swear. Just this once. The dealer will blacklist me if I don't sign. I stared at the messages, every vibration a reminder of the role they tried to lock me into, provider, fixer, servant. But the roles had reversed. For once, the power was mine. I didn't need to explain. I didn't need to negotiate. I typed one simple reply. No. For the first time, that single word rang louder than any argument, louder than any threat. The power wasn't in evidence anymore, nor in their humiliation. It was in finally saying no and meaning it. That evening, I drove to the dealership. Not for Ethan, but for myself. A sleek midnight blue sedan waited, gleaming under the lot lights. Outright payment. No strings. No obligations. Every mile I drove home, city lights reflecting off the hood, I realized something profound. I hadn't just cut them off. I had stepped fully into my own life. Saturday morning, they showed up at my door again. Lucas and Ethan, faces heavy, eyes uncertain. This time no shouting. Only a quiet acknowledgement of reality. We overreacted, Lucas admitted. We didn't expect. You didn't expect me to choose myself, I said simply. And that's exactly what I did. Weeks later, family gatherings continued, but on my terms. Holidays were mine to enjoy. No forced smiles, no hidden chores, no manipulation. The voicemail still lived on my phone. Lucas's threats frozen in time, proof of their expectations, now completely powerless against my resolve. Freedom. Autonomy. Power reclaimed. That's the justice I'd earned. Not through revenge, but through standing up, saying no, and rewriting the rules of my own life. And now the story doesn't end here. If you thought this was intense, the next one is even more shocking. Imagine uncovering secrets you never expected, in a family, a business, or even in your own city. If you want the next story to be even more suspenseful, thrilling, and emotionally charged, comment below and let me know what kind of betrayal or true crime twist you want to see next. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell, because the next story will push the boundaries even further. Netflix-style drama, legal thrillers, and family secrets like you've never seen before. Remember, loyalty is not slavery. Family is not blind obedience. Respect is the line you never cross. And the moment you reclaim it, you're unstoppable.